Want to know how to write a murder mystery? Just follow the letters. Hey there, I'm Leah Lindman, author of the Canadian Reminiscence series, and welcome to Pen to Paper today. Today we are going to be talking about murder, mayhem, and how do you go about writing a murder mystery. I've done two so far in my own series, Wisps of Gold and Scathed Bones, which the paperback is coming out for the first time ever this Friday, October 4th. So pencil that into your calendars, and when that day comes around, I'm going to send you over there with a short little video so you can get your own copy of Scathed Bones, which includes and features a legendary Canadian serial killer, a woman named Agnus McVee. So let's talk about murder. You are going to follow the letters of murder. We're going to go through each letter, and you're going to see that each letter details what you need to have in a murder mystery story. So first letter is M, and M stands for multitudinous suspects. You may be thinking, multitudinous, really? You had to throw in that super long word that no one uses. Yes, because I love super long words. And if you're not too sure what it means, it just means a great number of suspects. Now, who is queen of doing this? Well, the queen of crime herself, Agatha Christie. Agatha Christie usually, on almost every book that I've read, has quite a large variant cast from which the reader is able to pool amongst who they think could have done the murder. From the murder of the Orient Express to the death on the Nile to my favorite, the murder of Roger Ackroyd. And it doesn't always necessarily need to be the others apart from the main character. It could even be the main character themselves. You never know. But you definitely need to have a large enough cast in which everyone could have a motive, at least in the beginning, before you kind of knock away the suspects that have alibis, that don't have motives after all, or their motives are taken care of by something else in the story that doesn't necessitate them needing to murder someone in order for those motives to appear legitimate. But definitely having that wide array, I can't speak tonight, that wide array of people to suspect is part of the delicious fun of a murder mystery. U stands for the underbody of the plot, meaning that your murder mystery shouldn't just be about the murder. Before the murder occurs, your characters that you introduce, and especially your main character, has a reason, a raison d'être, why they are where they are, why they have congregated with all these other suspects. What is the reason for their being where they are and who they're with? There has to be drive between, or I should say behind every character, that gives them that realistic approach and some factors that can make them relatable to the reader themselves. Unless it's a specific type of mystery that doesn't require that aspect, but almost every mystery book that I've read has some sort of substance to the characters that is set apart from the mystery, and usually that gets disrupted or disturbed by the mystery. And you see, as the plot progresses, that those desires that they have or their goals or intentions are thwarted, and they are trying to maneuver those around trying to find who the killer really is. But you definitely need that added dimension to make your characters realistic and relatable. Hey there, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and click on the subscribe button for more weekly content. R is red herrings. Yeah, every murder mystery needs red herrings. You can't give away who the killer is and how they did it and why they did it right away at the end of the book. I mean, at the beginning of the book, you need those suspects or intentions or the abilities to commit the murder to flash in and seem as if they are the actual reasons why, when really they're not, to confuse the reader. Now, you don't want to be arrogant about it and just make everything confusing for the reader, because then the reader doesn't want to stick around the mystery to figure out what actually happens. But the red herring here or there just adds a little playfulness to the reader as they are reading and they see, oh, well, that could be a reason why, or that person could have done it. And it just throws them off track a little bit to who and why the real reason is, but maybe enough too that it, as they are thrown those red herrings, it kind of brings them in closer to who really committed the murder and why they committed the murder. D stands for dangerous dimensions, meaning that murder is a dark, grisly affair, and perhaps unless it's a cozy, lighthearted mystery, you may not have as high stakes or danger that your character has to jump through hoops for, or jump hoops through to resist or to stay away from danger. But in most murder mysteries, you're going to have dangerous situations that your characters are thrown into and high stakes where their life is on the line, or perhaps their goal that they were wanting to attain before the murder happened is at risk of being all for naught. You want the reader to fully be invested in why your main character or characters, why they want them to survive this murder or why they want them to figure it out. But you need to add that danger, right? Because then why should we bother? Why should we care if they solve the mystery or not? Maybe it's not even physical danger. Maybe it's emotional danger, or maybe it's a danger to their standing in society. Whatever you want that danger to be, enjoy playing around with it. And the danger might be different for every single character, but definitely have some sort of high stakes that the character is trying to avoid and maneuver around so that they survive the game of cat and mouse, or survive the night so that the murder doesn't get them, or survive their standing so they can hold on to what little they have left, but give us something to kind of chomp at the bit with. E stands for essential explanation. When you have created your moment of crisis and the murder, I should say, the main character has unmasked the murderer, now we need the explanation of, okay, now we know who the murderer is, so why did the murderer do it? And you need enough explanation to make it not relatable, to make it so that the reader is satisfied with why this all happened in the first place. Because if you've introduced, characters and why you should care for them and the high stakes that they have to go through, and then if you give this measly explanation at the end that doesn't even properly put together the reason why this all happened in the first place, that's letting the reader down. You don't want to do that. So make sure that your explanation makes sense. And I'm not saying everything has to be neatly tied up with a bow. You can leave maybe 1 or 2 details out that you can allow the reader to have fun and play with and imagine why or what it could be. But really, most of the main points you want it to be explained, either by the murderer themselves or by the main character or a sidekick that the main character has, that they have deduced from everything that has happened and from the and from the murderer being unmasked, that this is the explanation why everything has happened. And the last one that I think is very much overlooked is rocky resolution. Why do I say rocky? Because yes, I'm not saying that murder mysteries can't have happy endings. And you'll find definitely a lot of those happy endings more in cozy mysteries or Christian fiction mysteries. And you can have that happy factor in it. But there should be some sort of indelible impression that the murder has made upon the main character that slightly changes the way the main character views the world, or gives the main character something that they need to push through or to grow in. It has shifted their world enough in a way that some weakness has been shown in the light of day, and that's something that they need to work through. So for example, out of this whole mystery that she had to go through, she realizes that there are parts of her family, not family drama, but family background, family heritage that is missing from her life, that only this mystery kind of has unearthed in her life. And at the end of the book, even though it's a happy ending, she leaves in search to go fulfill that part of her life. So that's what I mean by rocky. Not that you have to have a sad or terrible ending. Not the case at all. Although if you want to do that, that's fine too. But just that there is something in the main character that still yet needs to be worked on. So that's Murder for You. I hope that this has been helpful, this framework, and I know that it has been helpful for me and when I have written my own murder mysteries. And tell me, what is your favorite murder mystery? One of my favorites, I mentioned it before, Agatha Christie, the Murder of Roger Ackroyd, but I also have 2 other favorites from her. And Then There Were None, and Sleeping Murder. I probably have to say that Agatha Christie is my favorite murder mystery writer. Tell me who's yours. Tell me which books. Let's share our love of murder.